John Dersham developed a love for photography at an early age.
When I was 10 years old, my father gave me his 1930 Kodak Brownie Hawkeye. What they did, Kodak, as a promotion to get people interested in photography, they gave each kid the opportunity to get a free camera loaded with film in 1930, if they were 12 years old, which my father was. He was 12 in 1930. So through his Cub Scout organization, these kids got a Kodak Brownie Hawkeye loaded with film. He took the pictures, sent them off. Kodak would send it back loaded with film. Well, in 1960, I asked my dad if I could take pictures with that camera. So we took a trip from Columbia, Missouri to Cape Girardeau, Missouri with a fresh roll of film in that 1930 camera, and I couldn't put it down. I was shooting pictures of everything along the way. So that's where it started. And I got so interested that on my 13th birthday, October 31st of 1964, they bought me a professional camera, which was a medium format twin lens reflex.
His parents were a tremendous source of encouragement as he pursued his craft.
They were very supportive of me having a hobby, both my brother and I. You know, anything that we showed a passion about, they would try to support it by getting us the stuff for it. So when they saw the passion with a camera that was already 35, 40 years old, they really liked that, and they knew that if I had some better equipment that maybe I would take that passion to the next level. So I did, and the following birthday they got me set up in the darkroom. So by 1965 I had an enlarger and a whole developing outfit, and my dad partitioned off a little piece of the basement with some plumbing, and I was in the darkroom business. When I was in Columbia, Missouri as a kid in my middle teenage years, I joined the Mid-Missouri Camera Club, and this is after I had already started photography. And in that club were Roger Berg, Milton Shanklin, and Andy Tall. Andy Tall was professor of photography at the famous photojournalism school at MU, University of Missouri. Those three people coached and developed me on the traditions of Ansel Adams, who was large format, black and white, and Andy Tall, who had the top job in the photojournalism school at MU, was a protege of Ansel Adams' famous F-64 club from the 40s. So this is where Ansel Adams had a little group of photographers that went around, mostly around Southern California and San Francisco area, Yosemite, and different parts of California, shooting 4x5 and 8x10 film and processing and printing them to the finest archival standards possible. So everything had to be done in absolute perfection, no dust, no blemishes. The negatives had to be processed to be permanent, meaning hundreds of years, and same way with the prints.
With a love for taking photos, it is perhaps no surprise that Dersham found himself working for Kodak.
Well, I worked for Kodak for 30 years, and basically I stumbled into that career because I had the photography background. I studied it in school, but I also was working in camera stores. So in 1972, I moved from Columbia, Missouri, the University of Missouri, to Nashville, Tennessee, and I was working in a camera store environment, and I found out that Kodak was looking for an area rep. So in fact, I didn't even have to apply. The company had some field representatives out, and just in a brief conversation, they asked me if I might be interested in such a thing. I said, absolutely.
Dersham has traveled all across the United States capturing images of people and places in black and white, hoping to produce images that will evoke an emotion and capture the heart of everyone who sees them.
I like shooting anything that is old, rotten, and falling down. So I do a lot of roadside America type shooting. I do a lot of cityscapes. I do a lot of work that's oriented climatically towards fog, rain, wet looks, especially in black and white. The prints get a special luminance when the subject's a little bit wet. I have a series that's represented in here This really comes out of a series I call The Good Old Boys, which is, it's an endearing, actually loving term for old businesses with the people that ran these businesses that had interiors that were, you know, antiquated, but had a certain look, had a certain subject content to them that really, really are interesting. And also from the standpoint of antiquity and dating on those, you know, you look into the scene and they will remind you of subject matters of days gone by. And I've done the same thing with a series called The Camera Shop, which is camera shops over 40 of those 50 years. Most camera stores, at least individual camera stores, privately owned, are closed down. So what I've done, I've documented camera stores in their heyday. This is Couch's camera store in Tullahoma, Tennessee. This is shot on 8x10 film. This is Mr. and Mrs. Couch. They are the 4th generation of owning this camera store, same family, and it is now in the 5th generation, and the young lady, Candace Couch, is not pictured in this, but they are retired, and they came out especially for this particular picture. I hope to capture an image that you or myself wants to hang on the wall and would enjoy it for years to come. So in order to do that, you have to have a picture that's a little bit different than other people's. So you don't want it to be a traditional advertising or postcard look. You want it to, in my case, I want it to have a feel. I want it to project a mood. I want you to be able to look at the picture and feel something. But I like my images to really invoke something for your senses, so the viewer can see this and think, oh wow, there's something about this feels good. I like the images that just especially are good at evoking some sort of a very strong sense of mood and contrast. Things like wet road scenes with fog, things where there's layers of gradation, like from clear sky to fog to a wet road, difficult lighting scenarios, unusual from the standpoint that there's only a moment in a particular day those can be captured. So often when I'm shooting early in the morning, there's only a few minutes each day, and sometimes less, that shot could actually be captured. I have one in the show that's actually taken at 5,000 feet in Yosemite National Park it's basically the end of a stormy day where the sky breaks apart and there's a layer of clear blue sky, a layer of clouds, a layer of fog, and then layers of mountains into the distance. That shot, I could only get one sheet from this camera exposed. The scene changed so quickly that I only had time to expose one picture. And that's the kind of thing that this type of photography is up against. You really only have a few moments that are just perfect for the scene.
If you would like to purchase one of Dersham's photos, you may visit his website at www.johndersham.com.
I have about 100 images for sale on my website, and there's an order form on there. If they're interested in something they've seen elsewhere and it's not on my website, there's an email link on there, and they can just contact me and describe the picture to me, and I'll be glad to make one for them.
Dersham's work will be on display at the Evelyn Borough Museum Monday through Friday from 9 to 5 and on Saturday from 10 until 2. To find out more, visit www.wallacestate.edu and follow the museum link, or visit www.boroughmuseum.org. For TV 27, I'm Danny Brown.